great. And I will then go to the people and admit all. Here we go. Good morning, Nick. Good morning, John. Good morning, Henry. Good morning, Catherine. Nice to see you, Catherine. Looking smart, Henry, as usual, which is excellent. Morning, Gareth. And morning, Richard. Nice for everybody to join. Thank you very much indeed for your time this morning. If you've just joined, please mute just to cut out any background noise, please. That would be great. Phil, I'm going to mute. I don't know if you could mute, but let's mute Phil. There we go. And John. So mute. Excellent. And let's mute that. Excellent. Okay. And yeah, that's good. Excellent. So, morning, Alan. Good to see you. If you could mute Alan, please, that would be great. Thank you very much. We'll give it another minute maybe, and then we can start the ball. Morning, John. Let's turn that off. Brilliant. Okay. Excellent. Okay, I think we'll do the introductions. I think Phil, and then we'll start off. So, good morning, everybody. Welcome to this week's coffee morning. Thanks for joining Pension Playpen for our weekly event. Today's event, obviously, is for me, it's really quite interesting, really exciting. Philip Calvert, who I'm sure will tell you all about him. Wonderful writer and author. We'll be talking about AI and all things that impacts the pensions industry, hopefully going forward. And first of all, before we start, today's recording has started, so we are being recorded. John and Alan and Henry, everybody's happy to be recorded. So have a thumbs up, which is good. In usual Playpen fashion, we would ask you to raise a hand if you would like to ask Phil a question. We will also open up the chat. So if you want to make any comments in chat, that's fine. But you know, and I know that we will bring you in at a later date to see if you want to make any comment or challenge Phil or praise Phil in any way. I'm sure there'll be lots of praise as well. Phil, over to you if you want to introduce yourself, and then I think you've got a slideshow that you want to bring up. And thank you in advance for your presentation, which I'm really looking forward to.
Fantastic. Thanks very much, Steve. Great to see some familiar faces here today. I've been really looking forward to this. Thanks to Henry for putting it out there on LinkedIn, and also for contributing to our group on LinkedIn as well. Absolutely superb. So I'm going to share some slides. I hope that's okay with you, and we will crack on. So let's just go here. Fantastic. So hopefully everybody can see that, and we will get stuck in. Let's just move that out of the way. Superb. As it says on the screen, we're going to have a little bit of a look at AI and possibly demystify it in terms of how it is being used or not used, as the case may be, within our fine profession. Just a little bit about me. This is where I started work in 1978, National Employers Life. Basically now Unum, for those of you that are in the employee benefit space. Tudor mansion in the Surrey Hills as part of the staff benefits. We got to use and enjoy these beautiful grounds here, which included a fishing license as well, which was superb. Now, I just did my A-levels, didn't go to university or college afterwards. And around in my late teens, basically this was my side hustle. I was taking photos at rock concerts. I used to blag a press pass. I can't remember how I managed to do it now, but I used to go and see all the heavy rock groups up in London, Hammersmith Odeon, Rainbow Theatre, Wembley Arena. And it's great that, you know, these bands are basically still going today. And these are some of the pictures that I took, and it's what I wanted to do. I still do a bit of rock concert photography. I took these 2 or 3 weeks ago at Wembley Stadium of Judas Priest. And it's just something I've always loved to do. If I'd not gone into financial services, I think I would have probably gone into rock concert photography full time and travel the world. So I've been doing this for around 46 years now. Some of you are members of our Facebook group, Life Talk. We also have a version on LinkedIn as well. And for the last 46 years, I've basically been mildly obsessed about marketing and technology in the financial services, financial advice space. I tend to work mostly with financial planners and IFAs, quite a bit in the later life market as well, but I also work with accountants and lawyers and a little bit in pharma as well. I've presented at goodness knows how many conferences around the world and presented to at least 1 million advisors one way or another. And yes, I've written a few books. If anybody wants to drop me a line separately from today, ask me a question, absolutely fine. Please do, and there's the email address for you there. So I've written quite a few books for financial advisors, but the one that sells most, and you will see the relevance of this, is this one. I can't remember how I wrote this years ago. As well as doing rock concert photos, I was also doing wedding photography as well. So I do a wedding on a Saturday afternoon, then it was up to London to photograph Motorhead or something like that. Now, this book sells a copy every single day of the year, sometimes many copies every single day of the year. We're just getting into the wedding season now. And what I've recently done is I've upgraded it by creating an AI tool called Wedding Speech Helper that there's a link to it within the book. And whilst the book helps people to create a great wedding speech, they can also now use AI to help them create their speech. They could even, if they want to, get the AI to write the whole speech for them. But that's kind of not the point. There is a perception that AI will do everything for us all of the time. Now, I will
Phil, sorry, just to
yeah.
briefly interrupt. It's not in presentation mode, so we're still on the front page of the slideshow, our end, if you see what I mean. So we haven't got. If you do page down, you should get to. Yeah, you've got a big house, then you've got the rock concert pictures, and then I think you've got your book slide. We're still on slide 1.
Are you?
Yeah, and I think you're on slide 5. So
how do I do that then? Because this is what I normally do.
Have you got it in presentation mode? Have you?
I have no idea. I just.
Yeah.
What do I do to find presentation mode?
So if you go bottom right, you'll see there's a slider which says minus and plus. It says 105%. To the left of that is a little sort of table or tablet. If you click that, that should get. Aren't you? Oh, okay. What if you hit page down? Can you hit page down on your keyboard? Page up, page down. Does it move forward?
Nope. It does for me.
All right. It's interesting.
Okay. The joy of technology. Let me just see if I can figure out what I need to actually.
No, don't worry. I mean, the other alternative is just quickly email it to me, and I'll do the slideshow, and then I can do it my end. So
let's just give me 2 seconds, see if I can figure this out. Screen, window, or tab. Choose what you want to share. Let's do entire screen.
Ah, there we are.
Is that any different?
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah. Brilliant.
Okay, let's just yeah, that's a good slide as
and
any.
Thanks, Gareth, for reminding us on that one. Thanks, Gareth.
Now I've got to figure out how to. Right, so we've got pictures of the books. That's nice. Here we are. Here's the wedding speech book. So you missed the rock concert photos, did you? There you go. Just thought you'd like to see those in case you've not seen them. Yeah, so those are a few. These were taken a couple of weeks ago. Still something I love. And here are the books. Yeah, and the point about the wedding speech book is that I've now enhanced the book by adding an AI tool that I created. And the fact that I don't know how to code or anything like that. The fact that I can create an AI tool that adds value to another service or product that I've got says literally anyone can do it as well. So we'll come on and explore a bit more about how we can use that in our businesses as well. So what we're looking at today is what is AI? How's it already being used? Some of you may already be using AI in some way, shape or form, and how the profession, the wider industry can use it and use it right now. For those of you that may be new to AI, or even those of you that are using a bit of AI already, stick around to the end and I'll give you a link to like a little self-assessment, which will show you how much you already know about AI and where your gaps might be in terms of what you might want to focus on. So stick around to the end and I'll give you a link to do that. So I think the main danger that we all face when it comes to AI is assuming it's coming down the track. I hear this conversation all the time, is that people are saying, yeah, AI, we hear about it. When it comes down the track in a couple of years' time, then we'll start taking notice of it. The simple fact of the matter is AI is here now. It pulled into the station a good year ago, and it really is changing things quite remarkably. And we'll explore a bit more. And I think the big issue is not learning about it, not taking the trouble to show some interest. The fact that you've all turned up today is kind of shows that you are interested, presumably, in what AI is and how you might be able to make use of it. So that's the big danger, is just assuming it's kind of on the fringes, it's not here now, and it's not something we need to pay too much attention to right now. So I've extended my interest in live rock concert photography to AI. This isn't one of my pictures, although I created this picture. For the last year or so, I've been creating AI images myself using a variety of different tools. And I've just done it really as a bit of a hobby. I've got a separate Instagram channel which just shows off pictures that I've created using AI. And I just play around with it, and I quite like doing atmospheric stuff. And here's just a few shots from my Instagram account. Now, what amazed me was after about 6 months of doing this, I get a message through Instagram one particular day from a complete stranger who said, "Phil, I like that picture of the guy with the grey hair right there. How much would you charge me for me to make a print of that? A big 20 by 16 print." And this was kind of jaw-dropping for me at the time. Here I'm just doing this for a bit of fun. The technology is here for me to play with, and somebody is already asking me how much would I charge for them to have a copy of that, which straight away went to my marketing head, and I thought, my goodness me, if I'm, some people wouldn't even call this art at all. It's whatever you want it to be. But if somebody wants to pay me good money for something that I've done with AI, then maybe people will pay financial advisors good money for services that they are creating with AI. So I just kind of leave that one with you. I asked it just ahead of this if we could create an image that sums up people's perception of the pensions industry. And this is what it created for me, which is slightly unfair, but this is the sort of thing that you can do with AI. We're only limited by our own imagination as to what we can actually do with it. But the simple fact of the matter is we have reached an extraordinary point in our industry, and it genuinely is the new industrial revolution for professional services marketing. Absolute change. Now, AI is not a new concept. The first academic conference was in 1956, the famous Dartford Conference, which Alan Turing was involved with, where they posed the question as to whether or not machines could actually think. So this isn't a new thing. People have been thinking about the possibility of this for quite some time. Now, everybody has got a view on AI, and I know for a fact that some of you watching this right now will be experiencing or have thoughts around what we're looking at here, some of these words. Some of you be extremely fearful of AI. Some of you be pretty excited about it. You'd be might be amazed about it. Those of you that have used ChatGPT or something like that may well have experienced that first jaw-dropping moment when it does something that you really weren't expecting to do. So everybody's got a view on it. There's no right or wrong way to look at AI right now, but I would suggest that ignoring it is something that we actually want to evolve. And some of you will have played around with AI and you've got some absolute garbage out of it, but this is a new skill that we need to look. HR people now, one of the biggest new skills that they are looking for is people who have the skill in prompt engineering. We'll touch a bit more on prompt engineering a bit later. Prompt engineering is how you ask an AI tool to do something for you. It's called the prompt. So different views on AI, and we'll take it from there. So how can we define AI? If we go onto the internet, we will find a variety of different definitions, which can broadly be summarized as this: AI is the simulation of human intelligence. And that's a key thing, the simulation of human intelligence. Other people have different views. So Sulab, Chief AI Officer at Deloitte, says that its most basic AI software that mimics and generates human behaviors, planning, generating ideas, understanding things as well. Its ability to scale human intellect will have a profound impact. Ginny, former CEO of IBM, some people call this artificial intelligence, but the reality is this is technology will enhance us. So instead of artificial intelligence, I think will augment our intelligence. That's another way of looking at it. Other people have different views. Stephen Hawking was not too keen on it. Development of full AI could spell the end of the human race. Now, when we start doing presentations where we throw away lines like the end of the human race, it is understandable that some people might want to tune out, but it is really important that we look at a range of different views and attitudes towards AI as well. Now, if you watch the news, whenever AI is mentioned, it's always done as a sort of either amazing thing or a very fearful thing. There seem to be extremes of views when it comes to the impact of AI on society generally. There's all sorts of talk about, will AI wipe us all out? And that's classic journalism. For most people, our views on AI are going to lie somewhere in the middle, but the more we learn about it and show interest in it, the more we begin to realize the opportunities that are ahead. What's really good to see, though, is that all the main AI companies, the likes of OpenAI and Meta and Google and so on and so forth, are building in very, very tight guardrails as to what they will let it do and what they won't let it do. And I'll give you an example. I had an IFA come up to me after I did a similar talk at an event, and he said, Phil, this is really interesting. Could I get ChatGPT to plan the perfect crime? Could I get it to kill my brother-in-law? Those were his exact words. I'm sure he was just being humorous. And I said, well, why don't you give it a try? And to cut a long story short, the ChatGPT wouldn't let him go anywhere near coming up with a plan to create all sorts of problems. Oh, there's Eugene. How nice to see you, sir. So Stephen Hawking had another view. Let's have a look at another one. Mustafa Suleyman, who's the CEO of Microsoft AI, says AI is essentially us. It reflects everything we know as humans. So when you hear about the likes of ChatGPT, it is trained on data. It has been trained on everything that we have put out there. And sure, there's all sorts of issues around copyright and so on and so forth. A lot of authors in the United States are suing many of the AI companies. But essentially, I think Mustafa, from my point of view, is as close as we're going to get to what AI actually is. It is us. And then we take the information, and AI can take the information that it already has and create new things from what it already knows. In many ways, AI is the next inevitable step forward in our development as the human species in the use of tools. That is something that, we go right back to the very start when we were primitive man. Our tools have become more and more sophisticated as time has gone by. And in many ways, AI is just the next inevitable development of tools in our history of our species.
Phil, we've got a hand raised by Padraig. Do you want to quickly to see what Padraig wants to say or comment on, or should we have a little pause? Padraig, have you got a question for?
No, I don't want to break Phil's. I don't want to break Phil's flow. I'm quite happy to come in afterwards. It's not essential to do it now.
Okay, all right. Sorry, Phil. Okay, keep going.
No worries. So let's just go into this in a bit more detail now. The person on the left and the person on the right are going from point A to point B. Because the person on the left is leveraging technology, there's a fair chance that he will get to point B quicker than the person on the right. That's traditionally how we leverage technology. It is supposed to make us more efficient. And in one way, we could say by using AI, we are leveraging technology to help us to get things done a lot faster. And certainly, as far as I'm concerned, my productivity levels have gone through the roof since using AI tools. But what's really interesting, it's actually much, much more powerful than just a person on a bike compared with somebody on 2 feet. It's a bit like racing a supercar. If we're using a supercar and trying to race against it, that's the degree that we are leveraging the technology. It is incredibly powerful. Now, those of you that use any form of social media may already have realized that AI is actually controlling us, to use that word, in a variety of different ways. If you're on Facebook, Facebook decides for the most part what you see next if you are scrolling. Those of you who are on Instagram will know the Instagram algorithm is very, very smart, and it will show you more of what you want to see. My mother-in-law said to me at the weekend, "Why does my Instagram only show me pictures of the royal family?" And we had a little chat about algorithms, and she realized that yes, she wants to see more pictures of the royal family. LinkedIn's the same if you're on LinkedIn. But those of you who are on TikTok, why is there a picture of the Eiffel Tower? Apparently, the average TikTok user scrolls the height of the Eiffel Tower in distance 3 times every single day. It is designed to be addictive, to show us more of what we want to see. So AI is already controlling us in a whole variety of different ways. Now, essentially, there are 3 types of AI that we need to know about and understand. First of all, narrow intelligence, then there's general intelligence, and then there's super intelligence. Right now, for the most part, most of us are already using narrow intelligence. And what narrow AI are basically tools that do one job really, really well. So a calculator is a form of narrow artificial intelligence. Google does one thing really well. All these things that you can see on the screen are essentially narrow AI. We'll talk a bit about generative language in just a minute or two. So one thing done really well. The next stage is called general AI. Now, it is believed that general AI doesn't actually exist quite yet, but we are remarkably close. It's said that in OpenAI, the company that created ChatGPT, may well have actually created a general AI, but it hasn't actually been released to the world. Essentially, what it does is it accesses a variety of narrow AI tools, and it mixes them all together to complete a task that we want to achieve. So an example could be maybe next summer, we want to go cruising around the Greek islands and charter a boat and cruise around the Greek islands. You could go to a general AI tool and say, this is what I want to do. And it will come up with all the options. It will show you all the prices. It will even book the flights. It will book the boats. It will hire the crew that you need. It will come up with a plan as to where you want to stop off around the Greek islands. It will literally do all of that for you. Yes, it will replace the traditional travel agent, just using that particular example. So narrow AI we are really close to it, but we're not quite there just yet. The next level is super intelligence, which is way beyond my pay grade, and we won't even go there today. But along the way to both general AI and full super intelligence, we will be using AI in a very intelligent way as just part of our daily lives. It will act in many ways like a digital companion. We will even give these things names. You can already get versions of ChatGPT which act as, if you like, a personal coach or a business coach, which you interact with on a daily basis to keep you on track to achieve your goals in life, whatever it is you want to do. So this is pretty close now, but this is the way it's being seen. And Mustafa at Microsoft even goes on to suggest that these digital companions will almost become a new digital species. Now, when I say things like that, I'm conscious that some people will that's the point where some people start to tune out. Where we're talking about a new species, that's the point where it becomes really quite difficult for some people to get their heads around. But if we look at it in the meantime as like a digital companion or a confidant or a coach or even a friend, that's the kind of direction of travel that this is going on. And something else that is already starting to appear is what's called artificial physical intelligence, where let's say there's a robot that can perhaps potentially welcome somebody into a bank branch. or even into a large store. There'll be a robot rolling around. There's a lot of stores already have this, but the robot will interact with you based on its current programming, so it knows to do certain tasks. But what artificial physical intelligence is, where the robot will actually learn from its interactions with human beings, and it will then behave slightly differently based on what it has learned in its next interaction. And this isn't far off either as well. So, extraordinary things are going on, and it is happening right now. It is happening at a frightening speed as well. And to give you an example of the speed at which this stuff is happening, some of you may remember quite a long time ago, there was a computer system called Deep Blue, which was really quite intelligent based on how it had been programmed. And the people at Deep Blue decided to set themselves a task to see if they could get it to be that smart that it could actually play chess and also beat a grandmaster. And they managed to achieve that. They managed to train Deep Blue to beat, and it did beat Garry Kasparov, and it took them 18 years to do that. Now, if any of you actually play chess online right now, you are usually playing against a tool called Stockfish. Stockfish is the best chess player on the planet, but it is basically a computer system. So the team at AlphaZero decided, let's see if we can beat the Deep Blue team and see if we can create an AI that can learn to play chess and beat the best of the best. And to cut a long story short, it took them 4 hours to learn chess from scratch and then to beat Stockfish, the best chess player in the world. So that just gives you a simple example of how rapidly this is changing. And you will already be beginning to hear on the news how AI is being used and literally transforming healthcare. And this is just going to explode at an extraordinary speed. We are already seeing improved accuracy in all sorts of diagnoses, really early detection of lung and breast cancer, early onset of Alzheimer's. And what's really interesting is that top medical professionals who've been doing this for years and years, now they are using AI to detect various diseases and so on. They don't actually know how the AI is managing to do this. And so we're going to hear more and more about groundbreaking moves forward in the use of AI in healthcare. We are particularly going to see AI being used in our industry and across our profession, whether that is day trading, personal trading, fund management. Lots of it have been used a lot in fraud detection, customer service, personalized marketing. Again, we are only limited by our own imaginations in terms of how we can use it. And in a minute or two, I'm going to give you an example, a really simple example of how we could perhaps use AI tools in the pensions industry as well. And more widely, AI tools improving traffic flow, changes. So, simple things that we meet every day, how traffic lights will become more effective just by analyzing the traffic that it's seeing in front of it, optimizing crop yields, monitoring the environment, all sorts of different ways that we're going to see AI being used. In our day-to-day lives, I found this wonderful example of this particular guy was in a car park. This was the signage in the car park. So he went into ChatGPT and said, it's Wednesday at 4 p.m. Can I park at this spot right now? Tell me in one line. Yes, you can. So already ChatGPT can be used to help us in our day-to-day lives. My son used it quite recently and took a photo of the inside of his fridge at university and put into ChatGPT, these are the contents of my fridge right now, ignoring the dog food, what could I make for dinner? And ChatGPT instantly can come up with some ideas and some recipes. So let's just explore a bit more about the generative language aspect of narrow AI. And this right now is where the first opportunities are, whether you're a financial advisor, whatever you do within financial services. This is the initial stage, because and right now I know that many financial planners, for example, want to keep personal data and client data well away from the likes of any form of AI tool. There are a number of technology companies that are working on ways for us to actually use real client data in a safe and compliant way. But for now, not surprisingly, most people just want to keep client data away from it. So how else could we actually use it? Well, the main generative language tools are ChatGPT, 3.5 and 4, 5 is imminent. DALL-E 2 and 3, which are also owned by OpenAI. They are the most creative models. If you want to create images, those are the tools that I use to create AI imagery. We have Google Bard, which has recently changed its name to Google Gemini, which is really good. And those of you that use Copilot are probably aware that it's kind of built into Microsoft Bing. Bing used to be a kind of considered a second-rate search engine to Google Chrome, but Bing is absolutely fantastic now because Microsoft are investing millions and millions and millions into AI, and you will find that it is built into Copilot, built into Bing now, and it is really, really good. Another really good one worth looking at as well is Claude. Claude is another great generative AI tool, and there are more and more of these tools every single day. I get a couple of AI newsletters, and literally every single day there are 2 or 3 brand new AI tools that are being introduced which you can use. If you want to, one thing I would suggest, and we'll talk about this a bit later, is how to stay on top of all this. And the best way, quite frankly, is either join an AI community, and I've got an AI community of my own, but also just to sign up for some newsletters. If you go and search for the Rundown AI newsletter, that comes out every single day, and they send you all sorts of useful information about developments in the AI world. You don't need to be a computer scientist or an engineer to understand any of it. You don't need to know how to code. It's all written in plain English, and it's just useful to stay on top of what's going on. So that's called the Rundown, and well worth looking out for. So GPT stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. In other words, it is trained to generate new content based on data that it has been trained on. And most of the generative models now are right up to date, and most of them can now access the internet to get real-time information. So in terms of a simple overview of the benefits in the financial planning space, for example, is remarkable improvements in productivity. You will find a reduced need for some people to do specific tasks. You can get more marketing done. You can make your marketing communications significantly more personalized these days. Yes, they will analyze some data. And as I said, not everybody is comfortable putting real data, real client data into a tool like ChatGPT, but there are ways to anonymize client data before using it in there, but also client onboarding as well. Now, I just want to go a bit marketing-y on us right now and just give you some ideas as to where we can start using this. When I do talks about marketing, one of the concepts I talk about is the value ladder, the process at which we build relationships and trusts with clients so that they naturally want to stick with us for a long period of time. Now, different industries have got different value ladders. So, for example, this is the value ladder for a dentist. My dad was a dentist, and he did a lot of NHS work, but even he knew that you had to have, if you like, lead magnets to bring people into your world. And so what he always wanted people to pay for the high-end cosmetic dentistry work. That's where the real money was. So what he would do is offer free teeth cleaning just to get people into the practice. A lot of dentists today will offer free teeth whitening. Back in my dad's day, teeth whitening was a high-end service. That was the real profitable stuff. So a lot of dentists today, this is what their value ladder would look like: get you into the building, build the relationship, start to build trust, maybe attract some introductions and referrals as well. And once that's happened, it increases the likelihood that people want to stick around for longer and pay for the really expensive stuff, the profitable stuff down the road. A chiropractor typically will have a value ladder that looks a bit like this, just to get you in, maybe free consultation, maybe a free massage, something like that. But what they really want you to do is to pay the big money for their weekend wellness retreat at a really nice hotel, yoga, whatever, all the rest of it. That's where the big money is in professional services. Gyms also have their own value ladder. Now, I just want to show you my value ladder. So to kind of put this in a bit more context, what I really want is for financial services professionals to come along and join me on my deep dive weekend marketing retreat. It starts on a Friday lunchtime. We get some guest speakers in, we get some real experts, and we take a deep dive into marketing and technology for financial advisors. It is really expensive, but nobody is going to pay for my deep dive weekend marketing retreat unless they've experienced some of the other stuff along the way. So right at the bottom, these are the stuff that I tempt people into my world. My live talk groups, we have a group on Facebook, we have a group on LinkedIn, we have a group on the school platform as well. We have a scorecard, which is free. Maybe I'll give away some ebooks or some e-guides or something like that. This stuff is free, that's in green. The stuff in blue, sometimes it's free, sometimes I give it away. That's about the same thing, isn't it? Sometimes you pay for it. Then we start getting to the stuff that is always chargeable. So we've got an AI best practice group, we've got a subscription community, we do a LinkedIn mix. These are basically the products and services that I offer in the financial advice space. And they go from free to very expensive. But to get people to put their hand in the pocket for the expensive stuff, they need to experience some of the less expensive stuff further down the line. Now, what's on your value ladder? If you're a financial planner, have a think about what's actually on yours. Now, for an awful lot of financial advisors, they don't have a value ladder. These are some of the things that financial planners and financial advisors could typically include on their own value ladder. E-guides, tips books. They could have their own quiz or scorecard. They could write ebooks. They could do blogs and so on. But slowly but surely, you get up to the full service stuff, full service financial planning, and maybe even that weekend or overseas retreat. I know several financial planners now that offer a weekend wealth retreat. I know one guy in the United States, he charges about $20,000 for a weekend wealth symposium, and he's got a 6-month waiting list sitting on the back of that. Now, what's the relevance of all this? The relevance of all this is it's actually time consuming to put all this stuff together. Now, most financial advisors are never going to have all of these things. What I generally recommend is you have 2 or 3 of these things, but think about what is your full high-end service at the top and what's the cheap stuff that you could maybe give away down the bottom that will bring people into your world. Examples, typically, Martin Bamford here from Informed Choice, he's written some books. Catherine Morgan, financial planner down in Jersey, she has kind of online challenges and she offers free workshops and so on and so forth, so that people can experience her expertise and then they decide they want to pay and work with her later on. The daddy of this is probably Pete Matthew, Meaningful Money, Jackson's Financial Planning down there in Cornwall. And he's been putting out his videos and his blogs and his podcast for well over a decade now. So, you know, he's the master at this stuff, but it takes time. Now, another thing you can do is to create courses. I'm literally launching a course any day now on how financial advisors can put their own courses together as another way to bring their expertise and credibility to the wider marketplace. Now, if you do a search on a website like Udemy, which is like it's like YouTube for courses, and you type in financial planning, you will find dozens and dozens and dozens. And here's just a few of them. Look at this one, the Complete Personal Finance course. 9,500 ratings, 141,000 people have been through this at anywhere between 16 quid and 60 quid. Now, you're the financial expert. Do the sums on that one. I think that's worth doing. Here's another one, the financial planning certification. Almost 5,000 students, anywhere between this kind of price here. Personal finance for beginners. not quite so many, but somebody's getting started with their course here. Personal finance, learn to plan your personal finances. 61,000 students, all paying between 16 quid and 50 quid. This is a brilliant way to take your expertise to the masses. You could almost create a separate proposition doing this. Here's one specifically related. Here's a few related to retirement planning. Ultimate retirement. Build your own dynamic retirement plan. 109 people giving it a 5-star review, and you can see for yourself the prices. I don't need to read them all out to you. Now, it's all very well and easy for me to say you can do this. It's actually doing it. And I can talk till I'm blue in the face about creating marketing collateral that you can use and new propositions that you can create. You've actually got to do it at the end of the day. Now, the brilliant thing about AI, generative AI in particular, tools like ChatGPT, is you can get this stuff done. You can write blogs and articles. Now, I don't want to say to people like Henry, you're now going to use AI, because Henry's really good at writing stuff and enjoys doing it. It's part of his proposition in terms of what he does. But for those of you that are thinking maybe I ought to up my game a bit in terms of creating content and putting it out there to the world, I could use ChatGPT to do this. Now, you could get ChatGPT to write you an article about inheritance tax planning or retirement planning if you wanted to, and it will do that. And it will make quite a good job of it. But you never want to put what it's created out into the world simply based on what ChatGPT has just created. What you want to do is look at the likes of ChatGPT as a bit like baking a cake. ChatGPT bakes the cake, but the cake isn't finished until it's had some magic put on it, until it's been finessed, until it's been iced and prettied up. And that's where the financial advisor's expertise comes into it. So think of ChatGPT and AI. It does some of the work, and then you finish off the work to make it good to go. So all of these things here can be created and can be done by using AI. In terms of the pensions industry, I'm no pensions expert, although my first 6 months of my career was filling in pension scheme record cards. I'm still scarred from doing that. But there's a variety of different ways that you could use AI right now in a variety of to create a variety of different things. Just one simple example is you could create a chatbot that is trained on the data for scheme membership booklets. So, if somebody joins a pension scheme in their company, they get access to their pension booklet, the key features, the terms and conditions, all that good stuff. And, some people will read them, some people won't read them. But you could right now create a chat bot that is trained on the membership booklet, the key features, and the terms and conditions, and it will be available within the company's HR portal or wherever it is, and employees can access it, and they can just talk to it and ask it questions about the pension scheme and how it's set up and what they need to do and what they need to know. And that will be a very, very user friendly, and you can do that really right now, and you can create something like that in all of 20 minutes, literally. These are called GPTs. They are little tools. They're a bit like apps. If you use ChatGPT, you can now create your own, for want of a better expression, chatbots based around specific topics. And I've created 15 or so of these, and these are just some of the ones that I've created. So the Advisor Referral Coach, it is a chatbot which will role play with financial advisors how to approach existing clients to bring in more referrals. I've created one that will help financial advisors to improve their LinkedIn profile, for later life equity release advisors to you talk to it and teach, and it will tell you how to work with you and create more leads. I've got a marketing club, and we've got a tool in there, a vulnerable client support tool. Anybody can create this. If you have any information or data or intellectual property that you have created, you can go to OpenAI, you can go to ChatGPT, and you can create a tool. Now, you don't have to make this tool available to the world. You can make it just private to you so that you play around with it and do what you want. So already, after just about a year of OpenAI giving us ChatGPT, there's already amazing things that we can do with it. I mentioned at the beginning that the key is prompt engineering. Like all software, we've heard the expression garbage in, garbage out. And ChatGPT will produce garbage for you unless you are very clear about what you want it to do. And you can, it's about the instructions that you give it. Now, what you can see here is just the most basic stuff. Write a 500-word blog aimed at small businesses turning over up to £1 million who are concerned about scaling but don't know how to get started, or whatever you want to do it. That's really, really basic stuff. What I urge you to do is to learn about prompt engineering. And you can get a free copy of my AI book. I'll give you a link to where you can do that, which talks about how to do this specifically. But I just want to give you an example of how you can build on this. So you could go to ChatGPT, you could say, brainstorm a list of market opportunities and target client segments for a financial planning business in the UK that most are overlooking. But then you can build on it, or you could ask it to do something, analyze cash flow modeling, give me 5 ideas on how to make this interesting and engaging content as part of the promotions of my services as a lifestyle financial planner. So this is a bit more involved, and ChatGPT will handle stuff like that very, very well. Here's another way you could do it. Break down pensions into smaller, easier to understand parts, use analogies and real life examples to simplify the concept and make it more relatable. Then you could add a bit more in. ChatGPT can cope with pages and pages, hundreds of pages of information, and then you can ask it a question about it. So if you've got intellectual capital that you have created, play around with it and ask it questions and ask it to give you ideas, and literally chat with ChatGPT. Ask it questions. Break down financial planning, cash flow modeling to smaller, easy to understand parts. We've talked about that. One of the key problems in my industry is pensions, education, maybe. I believe there's an opportunity here, but I need some fresh ideas. Help me brainstorm 5 innovative solutions or approaches to address this long-standing challenge effectively. And you'll be amazed what it kicks out. If for no other reason you use ChatGPT just to give you some ideas for your next blog, your next article, your next talk, or whatever, just do that. You don't have to get it to write your talk or your blog for you, but you can use it in a variety of different ways. Now, I just want to start to wrap up by showing you the next step. There is a tool called HeyGen, which is one of a number of tools that you can create ultra realistic video avatars of yourself. And I thought, that's interesting. I'll sign up for that. And hopefully you'll be able to hear this, but they sent me, when I signed up for it, the founder of HeyGen sent me a video, and I'm just going to play this video that he sent me.
Hey, Villa, thank you for showing interest in our ultra-realistic avatar feature. We appreciate your curiosity. We will be in touch soon. By the way, this is an automated video message created with my avatar. Hope you enjoy it and talk to you soon. Hey.
So that's not actually him. That's a photo of him that has been uploaded to his software, that when a script has been given to it, it turns it into an ultra realistic video of him. Now, this has all sorts of very exciting opportunities, I think, for financial advisors in its most simplistic form. Maybe you have a newsletter on your website that people can just register for. They put their email address in and their name. You could follow that up with an ultra realistic video of you saying, hey, thanks for signing up for our newsletter today, or thanks for signing up for our seminar today. In the absence of you, you can get the software to do it. So we can all do this. So I know that some of you are thinking, well, that's a bit weird, but I just want to show you this as an example of what potentially can be done. In terms of the immediate future, explosive growth is coming in this. It really, really is. The elephant in the room that we all talk about a lot is, will this come and take our jobs? I think the simple fact of the matter is many years down the line, That's going to be a fact. No question about it. And we shouldn't shy away from the fact that that's going to happen. Right now, AI won't take our jobs. But right now, if you are, say, a financial planner who is using AI in their business will definitely have a big advantage over a financial planner who is not using AI in their business. You know, even those simple things like someone registers for your email newsletter, you get a video. Simple things like that are going to make the difference. The more we play around with AI in our businesses, the more we will see how we can apply it to our own businesses. There is no one size fits all for how we use this. What I would urge you to do if you have a team is to train and empower your team to understand how AI works. And one thing that I talk about in my book is about appointing an AI champion. If you have a team, it may well be that you know there's somebody in your team who loves technology a bit more than others. Maybe they could be your AI champion. This is somebody who, as part of their job role, is in charge of just being aware of what's going on in the world. They don't need to be an engineer. They don't need to be able to code. They just need to be on top of AI. And maybe they report to you once a week, once a month on what's going on. So yeah, they'll sign up for a few AI newsletters. It may be you. For those of you in slightly larger businesses, your AI champion could even be a non-exec director who comes along to board meetings and challenges you on what you are or what you're not doing with AI, and just make sure that you start getting those AI plates spinning and you start thinking about how can we use this in our own business. As I said, I'm at great pains to say there is no one size fits all. There is so much that we can do with AI. We just need to figure out how we can start using it ourselves. So start using it if you're not already using it. Get tough with it as well. Start asking it some really tough questions. And see how it handles that as well. And if nothing else, think of it as a free new office assistant that you can bring into your business. So just wrapping up, don't assume this is something that's coming down the track in the future. It's here now. Please don't ignore it, and please don't ignore it either. So as I promised at the beginning, we can do a little self-assessment. If you go to, I'll make sure that everybody gets a copy of the slides. If you want the slides really quickly, just send me an email, philip@philipcalvert.com. Go to that link there, and there's a little quiz that will ask you a few questions about how you understand AI, how you are using it, or how you're not using it, as the case may be. It will give you a score, and it will give you a personalized report as well. And those of you that want a bit more of a deep dive into AI, marketing, lead generation, the future, business development, please come along, join Life Talk Plus. You can go straight through that QR code or go to there. It is a subscription community. It's about $9 a month. And you'll find some other industry experts in there as well. We'd love to have you all on board as well. So I'm going to stop sharing now. I'm conscious of time. I hope you found it interesting, and I hope it's maybe sparked some questions of your own that you want to go away and think about, or that you might want to ask now, or that you might want to drop me a line at some point in the future. Back to you, Steve.
Yeah, thanks, Phil. That's a fantastic presentation, and a whole world of opportunity ahead of us, young and old, I guess, on this call. So I know, Podrick, you've had your hand up for many a minute. Do you want to go first, and then we'll come to Gareth?
Yeah,
and if anybody else has got a question, then please raise a hand and we'll bring you in. But this is big. I know we've got 6 minutes to go, but let's just keep going. I mean, this is massive. So Podrick, over to you. Yeah.
Okay, look, you're right, Phil, in that things are being used. I mean, insurance is using AI a lot, as well as healthcare, to do the number crunching behind underwriting and things like that, looking at areas where runoff occurs for water, looking and feeding that into disaster plans and so forth. And I'm glad you mentioned that awful choppy video at the end, which I hate. They're all over Facebook at the moment, these fake videos, but they are going to be used more by the likes of Ping An as the first port of call for dealing with clients through their agency business, because they want to see a face. And as long as the face of the advisor, they think they've got an existing relationship and they can deal with all the the donkey work that the advisor would otherwise charge time for.
Yeah.
But I got a couple of things you didn't mention that I want to ask you about. The IP issue, I'm going to come back to very briefly, but two things. AI developers, they're not regulated by financial regulators. Okay. And there's two key areas of problem that insurance is very aware of, but it needs to be borne in mind. And that's, first of all, dilution of purpose, which is the kind of thing that active managers will claim indexation causes. So it's everybody. So you get a little bit of everybody, but not necessarily the best bits, and it's all mashed together. But the more important thing is that the fact that it hardwires in bias, and it's very hard to root out bias even now when we're aware of it.
Yep.
How do you can't make AI easily aware of bias, and bias is something we only have to look at how in insurance is how they price things for certain people. But on our side, if you think about the way that people get hung up on stocks and strategies, it could generate more Woodfords, because they'll be doing things that they know are right because it's absolutely nailed on until it all goes tits up.
Yeah.
So I'm interested, anything you can mention on that. But one other thing, if you can mention as well, IP. If we interact with these things with our own IP, does that suck it into the system? So that in fact we have given up our IP, whether we want to or not. Because frankly, I've got a course that I use for media training. I'd be interested to interact with it, but I don't want to give it up for nothing.
Yeah, so let's go backwards then on that one. In terms of IP, if you're using ChatGPT, you can set it up so that your IP does not train the wider AI world. So that's the first point. And if any of you are using ChatGPT, whether you're using the free version or the plus version, please go into the settings and get them to what you want, so that you aren't giving everything away. And I mean, you make a really interesting point, because I think I touched on it. Authors around the world are looking at this and thinking, okay, do we sue all the developers here, or do we consider it as an honor that it's being used in this particular way? So you can see why a lot of financial advisors, for example, don't want to use any live data in there, because who knows where that's going to go. And I think this is although I come over as quite excited about this, I think we are still very much at early days. We really are. It is good to see that there are good guardrails being put in place, and those guardrails are going to have to include bias as well. Absolutely no question. And we could talk about bias all day, to be quite honest. There's bias in a variety. It can mean a variety of different things. In terms of when I use ChatGPT, I can already sense that sometimes it's telling me what I want it to tell me, if you see what I mean. And it is reinforcing what it's that smart already. So prompt engineering is the new skill that everybody has to learn, to be able to use these tools in a way that will not result in bias taking place, whatever bias means to you. There is talk already that some of the technology providers, that it is going to be possible to, instead of us taking our data to ChatGPT, we can bring ChatGPT to us in a closed environment, do our work and our analysis, so that data stays in our environment and goes nowhere near anybody else as well. So from that point of view, yes, we are still very early days, and that's what I said, we do have to be really quite careful.
Thank you.
Cheers, Roderick. Okay, Gareth, I know you've got to go fairly quickly. Have you got a quick question now, or do you need to go?
Very rapidly, more of a rant rather than a question.
A rant,
I've been
go.
working in this kind of field since the mid-1980s, working with the Alvey project, been developing systems written in Prolog, expert systems, pattern management systems, machine learning systems, and so on. Most AI that's talked about isn't. It's still a marketing term. Most
Yes.
AI experts aren't. They were experts in something else last year and something else the year before that. Now, I have no idea how the current large language models work at all, but I suspect that I might have a bit better of an idea about the kind of the problems that exist around AI use. And the big one, I guess, for financial services industries is how do you demonstrate and prove the reasons why the outcomes are going to be used? Because you're going to have to prove those kind of outcomes to your clients and regulators and customers and so on. My quick example is I live outside Monmouth. I put in to GPT last year a question, how Welsh is Monmouth? I got an answer back telling me that it was in the heart of the Welsh-speaking homelands, but many people in the town spoke English, which is entirely incorrect. Now that's been changed. So when you're talking about using any of these large language model systems, you're talking about it changing the output from day to day because of what, certainly the more recent ones have been learning as they go on. So the real question is, well, how do you know it's wrong? What basis have you got for trusting its reliability? Because trust is dangerous. And if you can't prove to yourself or anybody else, why the output is there, then you're really putting everything at risk. And just as the closing, I do have to vanish. I've got a call that started a minute ago. The concept of thinking that a calculator is AI is, in my mind, absolutely bonkers. But that's just a kind of a personal opinion. And with that, I shall vanish and see the response hopefully on the recording. Cheers.
Thanks, Gareth. It's worth answering that with another example. A few months ago, I was asked to do a talk to a group of female entrepreneurs in London, and it's their annual conference and so on and so forth. So I thought, well, what might be good as part of my presentation is if I could get some sort of technology related quotations from well-known global female entrepreneurs. And I go into ChatGPT and I asked it to do this, and it came up with exactly what I was looking for. And then I thought, this is too good to be true. And I went back to ChatGPT and I said, are these real quotations or have you made them up? And ChatGPT came back to me and said, oh yes, I've made these up. They are the sort of quotes that might be typical of what a female entrepreneur would say. And so yes, it gets it wrong. We are still very early days. So proving something is going to be very difficult either way. But this is why I say, do not rely on ChatGPT to do all your work for you. It bakes the cake and then we do the essential work to finish it off later. Yes, it's learning all the time, but Gareth makes a really good point. And it makes stuff up. It does get things wrong. And within our industry, within our profession, it's our job, it's our duty before we use any of the information that it creates to check before we use it.
Yeah, good answer. Okay, John, will come to you, and then Eugene will come to you next. So, John, if you want to ask a question.
Two things. First of all, thank you very much for the wake-up call. I think it's and Henry, that thing I sent you some months ago, please revisit it with AI. Just a question on your course. Which country do you do it in?
Which course? The book writing course, did you say?
Oh, your in-depth course. Which country is it to come to?
So I'm not with you. I beg your pardon.
Which country do you do it? Just in England?
Do I do
the course?
Yeah.
The in-depth course.
Yeah, it's in the I beg your pardon. Sorry. Yeah, in the UK.
Right. Okay. No, it's just that I don't come back to the UK anymore. So.
Oh right. Whereabouts are you based?
Madeira.
Oh, lovely. Very nice too.
Yeah,
That'd be great.
Because there are changes.
Well, Phil can fly over and see you there, John. That sounds like half a holiday, half a work.
Well, you might just improve the content. I mean, I have a doctor client who does that with some of his wealthy clients and does a detox at 8,000 for the 3 days.
Yeah.
So it's deducted trip.
Pays for itself.
Thank you.
Yeah. Brilliant, John. Excellent.
Duly
Okay.
noted.
Eugene, would you want to ask a question or make a point, or?
Yeah. I want to thank you first, Phil, because 10 years ago he learned me how to use LinkedIn and make a lot of clients. And now I started using Copilot on LinkedIn,
Oh, yeah.
and it's very, very interesting. To be honest, myself is not the new clients or prospects the problem. It is writing suitability reports for clients, getting information out of fact finding, because I use paraplanners for this, and they call on Monday that they are sick, or all these questions, or they are slow, or they make mistakes, or I don't know. Probably you get the gist of what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Suitability reports and letters. That was the very first thing. Some of the IFAs and the planners that embraced AI right at the start, they think, right, could we get suitability letters out of this? And I know there are one or two people who are doing that already. And what they do is they anonymize the data themselves, get it to create it. But it's like anything, Eugen. You've got to check it. You could get a fact find, you could scan it and run it through ChatGPT and they export the data. I've done that on a few things, and it does occasionally make mistakes. It will get better and better and better. I think the message today is, here we are, guys. We're right at the starting point. Get ready for a wild ride. And learn about this stuff, learn what the downsides are, learn about the shortfalls, learn about the problems, but be excited about the opportunities as well.
Yeah, checking is not a problem. Getting a draft is the main problem, And secondly, could you offer some help, obviously, for as an engagement on this? Because I don't know where to start on this one.
Well, I'll send you a link to something that you might find useful. And that
all right, thank you very much for your answer and for today, everything. And
nice
everything you done
anyway.
for me.
And thanks
Yeah,
for
and
all your contributions to our group.
Yeah, just to say also, Eugene, on that, obviously you mentioned the regulators, and I think that's important to mention regulators, and the regulators will be catching up the IFAs and the financial services industry, and they'll be questioning the quality of the content of the report writing. So we've got to be really careful as an industry that client service and that quality of service is not reduced purely on the speed. It's the accuracy that's important in that space. But more importantly as well, Eugene, especially if you're regulated, is you've got PI insurance. Make sure the professional indemnity insurers are aware that if you're starting to use AI, then that's a risk to them as well.
Yeah,
If it hasn't been
Steve,
correctly
I'm
generated.
aware of that, and
I know
I
you're
will
aware.
not. I will
just
not
making
send
the
a
point.
report out done by the computer only. I will read everything again and check.
You've got to come up with your showstopper. Going back to the Bake Off showstopper.
The problem is I think it will be better than paraplanners. The AI.
Potentially, yeah, absolutely, could be. Of course.
Potentially. It's kind of my message here on this is, again, we're at early days of this. There are some things, particularly in the marketing space, that it's already very good at. Already very good at. It is inevitable that financial planners are going to start thinking, okay, how can we use this as part of our business operations now? And that is potentially very exciting, but my goodness, we've got to be careful along the way. And that's one of the reasons I say, appoint somebody in the business to be your AI champion so that they get really on top of it and can keep feeding you information as well.
Yep, brilliant. Okay.
Apologies for my dog, Steve.
No, not at all. I love dogs. It's fine. I'm very happy with that. It's fine. So, but Phil, genuinely, lots of lovely comments as well in the chat. Brilliant session. A few people have to drop off, but really, really good session. I'm sure you'll get some feedback and some stuff. If anybody would like a copy of the slideshow, come to me, come to Phil, come to Henry. We can send that out. A copy of this video will be on the media tab on Pension Playpen this afternoon. And we really, really appreciate everybody's input and questions. And it's such an exciting subject. I think we should do this again, even within 3 or 6 months from today, because it is moving that quick. So, another session, Phil, later this year would be brilliant.
Yeah,
if
really interesting. Only today, OpenAI announced that your ChatGPT will remember everything you've already done in it, which informs everything you can do in the So there we go.
Amazing. Okay. Thanks everyone for joining. We'll wrap up and say let's Thank Phil. Thanks for your questions. Thanks for your comments in the chat. Fantastic presentation. Next week, we've got Chris Edwards-Pearl from Stevenson Harwood talking about final salary occupational schemes, DC, master trusts, and potential litigation. Now, funnily enough, Phil, part of his presentation is also going to say that members of schemes are now starting to use AI to litigate and open up claims against pension funds. So that is an interesting segue to next Tuesday, which is, can AI attack the industry? Oh my God, and I think it possibly could. So anyway, that's interesting. So Phil, you might join us. I mean, why not?
That's really interesting.
So there you go. But listen, let's pray for peace in the East, peace in the Middle East. Henry, you and I say this every week. Let's see some peace there, and everybody have a brilliant rest of the day and a brilliant week, and hopefully you can join us on the next coffee morning. So thanks everyone for your input, really appreciate it. And Phil, once again, that was brilliant. Thanks
Take care,
very
everyone.
much. All right, take care. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.